Everything is good, friends?
Yes, Ravi, everything is good. Yeah.
Yeah. So here what we will get now? What we will get now? Here we will get what is that? Status. Status code as a what is that? Status code as a what? Okay. Status code as a okay. And what next? What we will get? Next what we will get? Token, right? Next we will get what is that? Token something token we will get here. Here we will get what is that? Token as a user response, right? As a what? User response. As a user response. Okay guys, so okay, so little bit what is that? At the time of explaining I was confused. After explaining that I became little bit what is that? Clear now. Okay, now what is that? See, first time, right? First time whenever we will log in, right, whatever username and password will be there, right? Based on that username and password, what we will do it now, we will make the request to whom? User controller, right? Means what? This is the first step, right? First step. Second step, what will happen now? Here we will write the login checks, right? Login checks activity. This, sorry, second one is what? It will convert in what is that? We will convert this one in what? One user request object, right? This data we will convert in the user request object. After then what is that? We will perform here itself only. What we will do it now, we will perform login checks, right? How we can how we can perform this login checks? How we can? We will take the help of what? We will take the help of what? Authentication manager, right? Authentication manager, right? Authentication manager. And what we will do it now, we will pass this username and a password to authentication manager, and this authentication manager will call what is that? Authentication with what is that? It's implementation class. What is that? Username password authentication token. This one will what is that? Validate, right? This one will validate. This implementation class will validate what is that? Username and password. After validating this one, what will happen now? After validating this one, after validating this one, what will happen now? This one will give this data to whom? This one will give data, this data to whom? This data will give to user service, right? This data will give to user service, right? After taking this username and password, what will happen now? This user detail service will load the this data, right? This data means which data? User credential, right? Whatever user credential is there, that one will load it. After checking that, where it will check now? Where it will check now? Here itself only, right? This checking activity is happening here itself only. So after checking this activity, right, after checking this data, what will happen now? This one will give this detail to whom? Our user detail service, right? Our user detail service. After then what? This user detail service will interact with what? Database, and it will fetch that data. It will fetch that data, and here it will return what is that? Then what we will do it now, we will convert that information, means nothing but details, is nothing but what is that? User credential in what is that? In Spring Framework users, right? Spring Framework users, and we will return those information to what? Our web security configurer adapter. Then after, yeah, after this web security configurer adapter, we will after performing every operation, right? Authentication and validation, what we will do it now? Again, we will write some logic. We will write some logic, means what is that? We will convert that credential, whatever credential is there, we will convert this one in what is that? In token format, right? Token format. For that purpose, what we will do it now, we will write one utility class, and that utility class will convert this data in what is the token format, and it will return the, it will, this one will return what is that? This one will return what is that? User request, user response. In what is that? What will be the user response? Token will be there, as well as what is that? Status code will be there. Now clear?
Yes, sir. Please
Hmm?
continue.
As you are
Yes, Ravi.
Yes, sir.
as you are seeing this diagram, right? This diagram is not that much easy, right? Its implementation is
Yeah.
very complicated. So here what is that? This one is making little bit, we can say that this username and password authentication, whenever we are working in what is that web application, right? Web application means what? End user as a what browser and a server communication there, what is that internally these things will happen, but here we are doing explicitly. What we are doing now, we are doing here what
Ravi,
this. Yeah.
in this diagram, what is the class and what are the interfaces? Can you mention in the diagram?
Okay, classes and interfaces you want. Okay,
Yes,
no
yes,
issue.
sir.
I'll
Mention in the diagram.
okay, I'll mention it. So let's first what we will do it now. First we will see the steps, right? First execution flow only let's see, then we will implement those things. Okay, we will tell.
Yeah.
So first what is that, whenever we will make the request, right? First step. Second step is what? Second step is
User.
user controller, right? User controller will execute. User controller will execute, right? User controller will execute. After then what? After then what is that? Then third step is what? Third step is what? This one, web security configurer adapter will come. Third one will come, what is that? Web security configurer adapter, and this one is what? Abstract class. This one is a abstract class. Okay, this one is what? Abstract class. Okay, fine. After then what? After then fourth step, right? Fourth one will, what will it will call? It will call, what is that? Authentication manager. Authentication manager, right? Authentication manager. Fourth one will happen, what is that? Here, authentication manager. Fourth, what is that? In web security configurer adapter, what will happen now? Authentication manager will call, right? Authentication manager will call. Okay, now control shift T, authentication manager, right? Authentication manager. Okay, good. Inside that, what is that? Authenticate method is there na? Come on.
Yes, sir.
Authenticate manage authenticate, what is that? Authenticate method. Yeah, authenticate, what is that?
Yes, method. Method.
Abstract method is there, right? Authenticate what? Abstract method is there. Now here what we will do it now, by using this authenticate manager, right? What is this? Is the interface. This is the interface. We will call, what is that? Authenticate. What is that? Authentication, right? Authentication is there na? Authentication is authenticate. I wrote wrong, right? I wrote wrong. Authenticate. This is the authenticate. Okay. Yeah, authenticate. In that, this authenticate will take, what is that? This authenticate will take what? Username password authentication token. What it will take? User no, what it will
Password
take?
authentic.
Username and password. It will take, what is that? Username and password, and it will check this username and password by taking the help of what? User detail service. It will hit the data, and this one will check, what is that? This username and password is correct or not. If correct, then it will return, what is that? It will hit the database. Sorry, it will already hit the database, right? It will, 1 minute. This username and password, by taking that, what is that? It will check that, right? It will check this username and password is correct or not. If correct, if not correct, then it will return, what is that? Error message. If correct, then it will return, what is that? Spring framework users, right? Spring framework users, and by taking this spring framework users, it will communicate with what? It will communicate with what is that? Abstract security configurer adapter. Abstract security configurer adapter. And by taking that response, what we will do it now? We will write one JWT util class, and there itself only we will generate that response in what is that token format, and we will return that token to what? End user. Then we will return that token to what? End user, right? End user. And this one is what? This one is the class. Now whatever argument we passed here, that is the class, right? That is the class. And this one is what? This one is the interface. This one is a interface, right? This one is the interface. And this one is what? This one user is what? Is that user is also class? Na class or interface? Come on.
Yes,
Class only, class only. User, right? What is that? User. Spring security core user details. What is there now? User is what? Class. Interface is like green. C. Class is green and it's wrote C na. Here what is that? I is there. These are the interfaces. And this one is what? Class. Right? So this is the workflow is there, right? This is the workflow. More clarity you guys want? More clarity? Okay, let's see that. More clarity I'm going to give. Okay, so first, what is that? End user is what? End user will send end user will what? End user will send end user will send what is that? Login as a what? JSON format, right? JSON format, right? First step what we are doing now? Login credential we are sending as a what is that? JSON format only na. Come on.
Yes, Ravi.
Yes, Ravi.
Yeah, so then next step is next what it will happen now? What will happen now? Next step, it will come to what is that? Controller, right? Come on.
Yes, Ravi.
Next it will come to what? Controller. Fine. Next step is what? Use sorry, this one, this JSON. This JSON means what is that? Whatever end user is sending the JSON, that one only I'm talking, right? This JSON data is what? Data is what? It is convert to what? Object. Convert to what? Object. That object name is what is that? We will give user request. User request, right? User request. I'm talking about this object now, friends. Okay, I'm talking about what is that? This object. What is that? What I given the name? What is that? User request. That is the class itself only. In that we will specify two variables. That variables, for first one will be their username, and the second one will be password, right? Come on. Now next step is what is that? It will call what is that? Web security configurer adapter, right? It will call what is that? In that what is that? Authentication manager object will call, right? Authentication manager object will call. Now then what is that? We will use what is that? A class. That class name is what? Authentication manager, right? Authentication manager which is given by what is that? Given by security config. Security config, right? Config this interface having what is that? Method to login check, right? login check. What is the method name? Authenticated, right?
Authenticate.
This method will check what? This method only check what? Our user credential, right? So
Yes,
after,
right.
yeah, after authentication, what is that? It will call directly. See this method, this method will call which interface now? Which interface? Authentication interface, right? Authentication interface. Come on.
Yes.
Yes,
This
sir.
this method argument will call what is the authentication manager, and this one only will check what? This one and authentication manager implementation class is what now, friends? What is the implementation class of authentication manager? User password authentication token. And this class only we will pass as a what? Argument in that, with what is that? With where that constructor username authentication password. No, this constructor we will not pass. This constructor we will pass what is that? We will pass what? User password authentication token constructor. This constructor only will check what is that, that username and password is correct or not. If this username and password is correct, then what will happen now? Then it will call to what? User detail service. Guys, this theory is, I know, a little bit boring, but this is the confusing, and based on this one only our implementation is there, right?
Yes,
Yes,
right.
Ravi.
Yeah, so now authentication is what is that? Interface. And we will call what is that? And we will call what is that? Its implementation class, right? IMPL class. Authentication interface implementation class is what now, friends? Authentication implementation class is what? User details, user password authentication token na? Come on,
Yes, right.
Yes.
right?
Yes, Ravi.
Token. It's a take what is that? It's a takes what? It's a takes our request username and what? Password. Username and password, right? Password. Now it will take what is that? Now after taking this one, what? It will take the help of what? It will take the help of what? Our user details, user details service interface. It will take the help of user details service, and it will call what? It will call what? Load user by username, right? Come on, right? So now next
Yes,
step
sir.
Yes.
what? Next step what? Now it will take it will take help of what? Help of what? Our user detail user detail service interface, right? That is the interface now. User detail service interface, which is given Spring framework, which is given what? Spring framework, right? After then what? After then what? It will return what is that? User object. It will return what? User object, right? Come on. After taking the help of what? It will hit the database, and it will take the credential. After then what this method is returning now? What this method will return now, friends? Spring framework
User
user only,
detail.
right? Come on. Hmm?
Yes, Ravi.
People are feeling bored.
No,
Huh?
Ravi. Theory is going on, na? That's
Yeah, actually theory is more.
Yes.
right? So
Yes,
okay,
Ravi.
now after then what is that? It will return what is that? Spring framework user, right? Spring framework user. Okay, good. After it will return what is that? User spring framework return, right? User. After object, user object based on what is that? Username, and then it will call what? After taking this username and a password, sorry, username, right? User object, right? Here user object user object based on based on what? Username and then calls what is that? Security configurer adapter, sorry, security configurer, right? Security config object. It will call what is that? Security config object. In that which one it will call? Authentication manager builder will be there, right? Sorry, web security configurer adapter. It will call what is that? Web security configurer adapter. Which one it will call now? Which one it will call? It will call what is that? Web security configurer adapter, right? It will call what is that? This object will call what is that? Web security configurer adapter. In that two methods are there, right? In that what? Two methods are there. Two methods are there. In that two method, which one it will call first? What is that? It will call what is that? Authentication manager builder. It will call what? Authentication manager builder, na?
Yes, Ravi. Argument.
Yeah. Then in the security config, right? In the don't worry, these things we are going to implement as a what? Program only. So web security web security web security
Configure,
config adapter, right?
configure, yes, sir. Configurer adapter.
Configurer adapter. After then what will happen now? After then it will call what is that? To validate what is that? Validate configuration, right? Sorry, validate configure. For validating purpose, it will call? What it will call? For validating purpose, both method will call, right? Both method will call configuration authentication manager builder, and what is that? Which one will call? HTTP security will call, right? Come on. Hmm?
Yes, Ravi.
So validate configure authentication manager builder, and what? And what? Also validate validate configure http security, right? HTTP security. If valid generation, right, means what here? If valid generation is there, right? If valid generation is there, means what? If the request is validating well, then what will happen? Then what is that? We will generate one token and send to UI or user response data. Come on. If validation is done perfectly, right? Perfectly, then what we will do it now? We will convert that response in what? Response in what? Token format, right? Token format. Hmm?
Yes, Ravi.
Yes, Ravi.
If valid generate one token, right? And send to UI as a user response data. User response data. That data will be status code, status and what? Token. Status and a token. Else, if not, right? Else given error message as what is that? Invalid user, or we can give what is that? Invalid user. So now let's do implementation of that, friends. Okay, let's do implementation of that. So first, what is that? Yesterday we done, right? Yesterday we done login process. Now in that only we are going to implement those things. So in this one, friends, right? In this one, what is that? A user detail service and a JWT is independent part. These two parts are independent, right? These two parts are independent. Shall we implement first these things now? Come
Yes,
on.
sir.
These
Yes,
two
Ravi.
these two things is independent. Let's implement these two things first in our application. So now everyone is ready for that, friends.
Yes, Ravi.
So because this concept is known for you, friends. Okay, I know that yesterday we saw that JWT token claiming and what is that? Conversation, and those things only we will write in the JWT util, right? So now first what we will do it now, let's write what is that? Let's work on this area now. Let's first what we will do it now, let's work on this area now, because this is the known concept. Okay, I don't want what is that like what to feel bore. First, what is that known concept I will implement in our project, and wherever the little bit boring things is there, on that area separately I will work. Just you guys listen, right? But don't worry, I'll explain it that one also. So based on this diagram only, what we will do it now, our implementation will be there, friends. Okay, our implementation is there. It's look like, see, diagram also complicated, and the JWT token also token implementation also, because this is the stateless behavior in our application now. So it will take, because whenever we are working on what is that web application, like what is that end user communication, end user and a server communication is there, these things will happen automatically. We are not doing, but here we need to do explicitly. In stateless application we need to do it, everything as explicitly. That's why it's becoming what is that complicated, right? Come on.
Yes, Ravi. Yes.
Okay, so now let's start working on this area now, friends. Let's start working on these areas, right? Okay, so
Okay.
fine. So first what we will do it now, let's work on this one only, right? Let's work on this one only. So now let's close first everything, because now we saw that all implementation API and all those things now. So yesterday we where our application, this one, right?
Yes, sir.
This one. So first what we will do it now, first we will add what is that dependency. Which dependency? Security dependency we will add in the pom.xml, because yesterday we are not updated that dependency now. Right click spring
Head starter.
edit
Edit.
starter, right?
Yes, sir.
Now security, take spring security. Okay, okay, it's added. No, still let's wait. Yeah, now come in the service class, right? Come in the service implementation class. Okay, so this is the interface, right? This is the user detail service is what? Interface now, friends, come on.
Yes, Ravi.
So what
Yes,
we will,
Ravi.
yeah, so what we will do,
Ravi.
already we completed these things, friend, in the last application. That one only again I'm doing in this application, right? So user
Detail service.
detail service, I'm taking user detail service. In that, what is that? One abstract method is there na, come on. One
Yes.
abstract method, we will override that abstract method. Alt shift S plus V. Manjulata, same doubt was there. You are facing this issue. You can see this again. You are getting. I'm going to explain that
Yes.
one, right? In this
Yes.
area only you stuck and you shared in the group, na? Come on. I remember that.
Configuration issue. Yes.
If I'm right, I like you shared in the group, na, that problem. I saw that, but
Yes.
I was there in the office. That's why I did not give in the response. So, okay, fine. So here, what is that? This load user method, what this load user method will do, it will fetch the record, right? It will fetch the record by taking username, na? Come on.
Yes, Ravi.
Yeah.
Yes.
So before that, what we will do it now in the repository class, where the repository, yeah, repo interface, we will open the repo interface. In this repo interface, what we will write it now, friends? What we will write? Find by username, right? Find by username. Inside that, what we will do it now? Let's write what? String, means it will take string
User.
string username, and it will return what?
User data.
User.
Okay.
User object, right? Okay, now find here what we will do it now? We will return what? User model, right?
Yes, Ravi.
Right.
All the
So
methods.
here we will take, what is that? Repo dot what we will call find by username, na? This method we will call, and we will pass this username, right? Username, and this one will return what? User data, right?
Yes, Ravi.
Hmm?
Yes, Ravi.
This one will return what is that? User data, right? Fine. After getting this user data, next what we will do it now? Here what we are getting? We are getting the model data, right? Come on. Here we are getting what is that? Model data.
User data.
Model data, right? Model class, right? Model class based on what is that? Username. We are getting what is that? Model data based on what is that? Username. Next what we will do it now? Here come in the diagram itself only, right? Then in this one, what is that? After fetching that, what it will return? User, Spring Framework user, right? Come on.
Yes, Ravi.
Now let's take what is that? User Spring Framework user I want, right? Yeah, this one I want. What is that? User, right? URS, let's take URS equal to new user. Okay, good. So this one, in this what we will do it now, which we will take what? Argumented constructor, right? Argumented constructor. It's taking what is that? 3 argument now, friends. Come on.
Yes, Ravi.
It's asking what? 3 argument, right?
Yes. Username, password, authority.
Yeah, username, password, and what? Authority, right? Authority. So first what we need to do? First we will pass what? Username. So how we can pass the username, friends? Now
User.
User dot
User
username,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Get
Yes,
username. Get
Get username. Yes.
username, right? Get username. Next, what we will do it now? Password, right? It's asking what? Password.
User
It's asking what? Password. Then how? User dot get
User dot get password.
password,
yes,
right?
sir.
Get password. Now, how we can pass the granted authority? How we can pass the granted authority, friends? Hmm?
Anytime.
by
So
using some
by using what is that? By using
Loading
what?
class.
Hmm? By
By
using granted
loading.
authority, right? By using granted authority, right? Come on.
Yes,
So
Ravi.
created.
here what we will do it now, here what we will do it now, set off. Now you want to see 1 minute. Here it's asking what is that granted authority. Control Shift C. Granted authorities, right? Granted authorities.
Yes,
It's asking what is that? Granted authority, right? Granted authority. Inside that get authority is there na? Yeah, fine. It will ask what is that? Set of granted authority, right? We need to give what is that? Set of granted authority. Fine. So here what is that? Let's give what is that? Set of Control Shift O util, and here what we will give? Authority, right? Authority. Let's create the authority. Let's take same only. Copy this one. Copy this one. Give the reference name as a same itself only. Equal to new has
yes, sir.
set, right?
Yes, sir. Authority.
Has a set. Okay, fine. Has set authority. But how we can give the all authorities rules set,
Parameter.
right? Here what we are giving? Here we are giving what is that? Here what we are doing now? We are doing what is that? Rules to what is that? We are setting to whom? Granted authority. Granted authorities, right? Granted. See boss, these things already I explained. I think no need to explain again, right? Explanation
No,
is
no,
in it,
sir.
friends, because already we completed these things na? This is the known
Yes,
Yes,
things
yes.
for you. This is the known things for you, right? So that's why I'm not
Yes,
putting my much effort in this area, right? So now,
Right, right.
okay, fine, but because our what is that? If we take, right, all authorities grant, sorry, roles, right? Roles. Granted authority means roles only, friends, right? So roles will be there in the string format, but we need to convert in the granted authority. Then how we can convert? How we can convert now, friends? For that we will take what is that? Simple granted authority class. We will take the help of simple granted authority class na. Come on, Control Shift T. Simple granted authority. We will take the help of what is that? Simple granted authority, and it will convert string roles in the granted authority, right? Come on. See
yes,
here,
Ravi.
it is checking that some conditional based things is there in the simple granted authority. This simple granted authority is converting the string roles in the granted authority, right?
Yes, Ravi.
Yeah. So here how we can pass roles in the granted authority? We will take as a what is that? List of